Hi guys, I thought I'd do a quick 1, 2, 3 here as to some of the questions that are popping up in regards to scaling as well as speed and feel of Urban Terror on the Unreal 4 engine as compared to uh, uh, say Urban Terror Classic, or in this case as we like to call it, Urban Terror Still Dying. So I'm going to show you something here that if just by simply moving around, it just, well, actually we got to hit the play button. Okay, so we got our first person shooter. Boom, 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 using this as a proxy. It is not our player model of any sense in the imagination, nor are we moving with the same kind of physics and what have you. But I like using it because it's a real solid reference as to how I need things to be able to move around in this environment. So first of all, as to scaling, the environments themselves have been taken directly off the source and have been measured relative to the player model, as the player model in 4.3 is 6 feet tall, and our player model in Urban Terror 5 is 6 feet tall. So the relative scaling wise, they're both the same. So the transfer from one to the other is based on actually measuring the differences between the scaling and converting from obviously from inches to centimeters, the metric system. But if we stand, hopefully, if we stand our third-party character next to an item in this area here, it should, in all intents and purposes, kind of measure up between the two different ones as to relative scale. Okay, so I also like to use the third person model, because the third person model is actually, as to relative scaling, is 6'3". So if I'm running around this map and I'm testing for entry points, am I going to be able to make it through an entry point or bumping my head? It's relative to a person being 6'3", and not 6 foot, which is what our player model is. Okay, so as you have noticed, I've been just kind of lumbering around the map, and we're looking at it, but we're looking at it at the stock FOV setting of 90. So this is the actual closer to the actual scaling reference that we would normally see if we were to, say for example, put blinders on and limited our vision to a much narrower scope. Everything just seems to look bigger and move slower. Now, if we were to change, now this is not how things are done in obviously in Urban Terror. We want to change our FOV. So if we go FOV, just to show you, prove it. Indeed, we're in 90. If we go FOV 100, it elongates, obviously, and we can see a lot more information to the left and right side, and we move a little bit faster because we're moving faster. It's an illusion of moving faster based on more information coming in from the left and right hand side. If we go FOV 110, more information is presented. Buildings start to look smaller and in relationship to their player, and we seem to be moving faster. Of course, we have to compensate for the elongating first person, which is there are ways of doing that. For example, this is this model here in this template is 100% to scale. So it breaks through the far plane of the first-person model. If we were to fix that, the same way it can be fixed in 4.3 is to decrease the scale down to 25% of its full scale value and pull it closer to the camera. So it actually, but there is another way to correct that. I'm not going to get into it because, well, first of all, it's out of my technical expertise to properly explain it. But I believe it's called pana projection, or pana, like I like to call it panavision, which will actually hopefully, supposedly get rid of this fish eye action that we see going on. Anyways, we'll bump this up another notch to to the more commonly used 120 FOV, and of course things start to elongate. But it's probably looking a lot familiar now as to scaling, the buildings being to scale that you're used to, and we obviously seem to be moving a lot faster than we do at a setting on an FOV of 90. It's all about depth perception, I guess you might want to say. If we go to FOV 130, it's elongated even more, which needs to be corrected. Get much more fish action. I'm thinking that this could actually be corrected as to being widescreen, as there are some papers on it and stuff like that. And if we want, we are now at warp speed. We are still moving at the same speed we were at an FOV of 90. It just feels and looks like we're moving faster, and the buildings are much smaller. Okay, so I thought I'd point that out, that there's a little bit more going on than just stock settings and what have you. The game is highly tailorable to what you want it to do, and if you want to feel like you're going faster, well, you could probably do 160. I'm not too sure, but man, it kind of looks weird. Okay, thought I'd point that out, guys. See ya.